Good evening, Raiders Nation. Buckle up, because we've got some massive news coming out of Las Vegas that's got the NFL buzzing. Picture this, it's a tough season in the desert, the Raiders are struggling, and the trade deadline is creeping up fast. November 4th is just around the corner. But amidst all the chatter, one question looms large. What's the future for the Silver and Black's biggest star, Maxx Crosby? Well, hold on to your helmets, because the Raiders just dropped a bombshell that's got fans cheering from Allegiant Stadium to the streets of Oakland. Let's dive right into the heart of it. According to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero and Jane Slater, the Raiders met with their superstar defensive end Maxx Crosby on Tuesday and delivered a clear message. They're not shopping him, and they're not trading him. That's right, folks. Maxx Crosby, the heartbeat of this defense, is staying put in Las Vegas. And get this, Crosby himself has made it crystal clear he's all in with the Raiders, with no desire to leave the city that's embraced him as one of its own. Talk about a commitment to excellence, right? Now, let's break it down. For those of you new to the game, Maxx Crosby isn't just a player, he's a force of nature. This guy's a defensive end who wreaks havoc on quarterbacks, a relentless pass rusher who's become the face of the Raiders' defense. In just 7 games this season, Crosby's racked up 4 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 9 quarterback hits, a forced fumble, 5 pass defenses, and, get this, an interception. That's the kind of stat line that makes opposing offenses lose sleep. He's not just the Raiders' best player, he's one of the NFL's elite, a disruptor who channels the spirit of Raiders legends like Howie Long and Ted Hendricks. But let's be real for a second. The Raiders' 2025 season hasn't exactly been a highlight reel. With a rough start and a roster that's got more holes than a slice of Swiss cheese, some folks out there have whispered about trading Crosby. Why? Well, with the team far from playoff contention, a trade could bring in a haul, like the 2 first-round picks and a player the Cowboys got from Micah Parsons from Green Bay. That kind of deal could jumpstart a rebuild, giving the Raiders draft capital to address their quarterback woes or bolster the offensive line. And since the Raiders aren't in the Super Bowl hunt this year, it might not spark the same fan backlash as the Parsons trade did in Dallas. But here's where things get really interesting. The Raiders are saying, not so fast. They're looking at the bigger picture. The NFL is a league where fortunes can flip in a heartbeat. Just look at the Bengals going from 2-14 to the Super Bowl in a single year back in 2021. The Raiders know that with the right moves, maybe a new quarterback or a breakout draft class, they could be back in the AFC West hunt by 2026 or 2027. And when that happens, you better believe they'll want Maxx Crosby terrorizing the likes of Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Bo Nix. Keeping Crosby is a statement. The Raiders aren't just rebuilding, they're building around a cornerstone. Let's put this in perspective with a little history. The Raiders, born in Oakland in 1960, have always been about defiance, swagger, and loyalty to their stars. From Al Davis's "Just Win" baby mantra to John Madden's Super Bowl XI triumph in 1976, this franchise has a legacy of sticking with its playmakers. Think Marcus Allen bulldozing through defenses in the 80s or Charles Woodson redefining the cornerback position. Crosby fits that mold, a homegrown talent, drafted in the 4th round out of Eastern Michigan in 2019, who's become the heart and soul of this team. Fun fact: did you know Crosby's nickname, Mad Max, was inspired by his relentless energy and a nod to the post-apocalyptic warrior vibe that fits the Raiders' outlaw image? Now, let's imagine we're in the locker room. Picture head coach Antonio Pierce, a former player who knows what it means to wear the silver and black, sitting down with Crosby. "Max," he might say, "you're our guy. We're building this thing around you." And Crosby, with that signature intensity, probably fired back, "Coach, I'm not going anywhere. Let's get this team back to the playoffs." That's the kind of fire that gets Raiders Nation hyped. So, what does this mean for the rest of the season? Well, the Raiders might still be active at the trade deadline, maybe moving some depth pieces to stockpile draft picks. But with Crosby locked in, the defense has a leader to rally around. Pair him with players like Christian Wilkins and a healthy Tyree Wilson, and you've got a defensive line that can still make life miserable for opponents. The offense? That's another story. Quarterback Aiden O'Connell and star wideout Davante Adams need some help, and fast. But keeping Crosby signals the Raiders are playing the long game, betting on a turnaround sooner rather than later. Looking ahead, let's make a bold prediction. If the Raiders can land a franchise quarterback in the 2026 draft, maybe a dual-threat playmaker like we've seen light up the league, They could be wild card contenders by next season. With Crosby anchoring the defense and Allegiant Stadium rocking, the Raiders could reclaim their spot as the AFC West's resident rebels, ready to take on the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos in those epic rivalries that define this division. Raiders Nation, this is your call to action. The silver and black are down but never out. Tune in this Sunday as they take on their next opponent, and let's see Maxx Crosby do what he does best, chasing quarterbacks and carrying the torch for this storied franchise. Head over to our channel for more updates, and let us know in the comments. Do you think keeping Crosby is the right move, or should the Raiders have cashed in for a rebuild? Drop your thoughts, and as always, let's ride with the Raiders. Just win, baby.